Hey, can you hear me? Okay, sweet. Yeah, can you hear me well?
I can. Can you hear me?
Yeah. Okay, sweet. Yeah. So did that storm pass you, or is it still kind of?
No, east of us now. I mean, it's still sprinkling. I don't know if you can hear it real bad with my phone, but we're good.
Okay, sweet. Um, okay, so really, this is mainly like a conversational podcast. And so what I really want to know is like more about your company. For the most part. I know it's like a third generation company, correct?
Yes, sir.
Yeah. Did I know y'all primarily make weight belts? To my knowledge, was it always like that, or has it kind of evolved over the years?
I mean, it's definitely evolved. My grandfather, when he first started, I think he did like all sporting goods, including jerseys and hats and stuff. So when he started in West Nebraska, he had that territory where it'd be like northern Colorado, eastern Wyoming, West Nebraska, and he would travel to all the little small towns to their sporting stores in each one of those small towns and try to sell them. There were belts, but it was everything sporting goods related. Boxing gloves. Kind of everything.
Yeah.
And then when my parents took it over in the 80s, it was primarily fitness accessories only. They got rid of like the clothing line and all that stuff for baseball teams. And then when I took it over, a little over 9 years ago now, that's when we started kind of getting in the public eye, where we got social media, started going retail instead of specifically wholesale.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, it's evolved. We didn't do custom belts for that long. Probably 6 years ago, 7 years ago.
Yeah.
That's when we got our first embroidery machines, and that's when it started kind of getting crazy. It was since then it's gotten really crazy with lasers and dyes and hand painted and exotics and all those different things. But
Yeah.
we never did wallets, we never did dress belts or gun belts or anything like that.
Mm-hmm.
Even though we were set up perfectly, I don't think mom and dad nor my grandfather had the desire, maybe not even the capacity, work, space and employees and machinery and that kind of stuff they didn't have. So it's definitely evolved.
Okay. Sweet. Yeah, I don't know how many years I've been following Pioneer on Instagram, but I know it's probably around like 4 or 5, 6 years.
Yeah.
Yeah, because there's some crazy belts that some people request, man.
Wild. So every time we have somebody, stop in to have a belt made or go walk around, I always tell them, like, look, you might see some stuff out here that you find offensive, sexually oriented belts, or just people just trying to be funny. I think is really what it boils down to.
Yeah.
Try to get eyeballs on them. But yeah, there's been some pretty wild shit go through there for sure.
Yeah. What I guess, I'm sure you've gotten this question before, but like what would you say is like not necessarily the wildest, I guess the wildest belt that you've seen, really?
Probably break it down into categories. Like, we've had, if you just do embroidery, terms or words, we've had stuff like yogurt sock and hookers and cocaine and butt snorkeler and all of the eat ass stuff and all of this kind of stuff, which are pretty out there for me.
Yeah.
But if you go break it into a different category and go like exotics, we've had people. I had a guy ask for a pirarucu, which is, I didn't even know what the hell it was. It's an Amazonian fish that they make leather boots out of, like cowboy boots.
Okay.
A lot of people right now, like sea bass is big cowboy boots, but this one he wanted a specific fish, which like I said, I didn't even know they made fish leather, but they do. We've had people have water buffalo, Cape buffalo, hippo, and elephant, and all these different things, which are wild in their own regards.
Yeah.
And, there's with the vinyl stuff now with full color print. I mean, you can kind of crazy as you want from. I don't know how old you are, and I can't remember the damn name. My wife has it. Actually, hold on a second.
Yeah.
I don't know. I can't remember this. It was big in the 90s. Everybody had like notebooks and stuff about this.
Yeah, for sure.
I don't know what that. It's a lady's name. It's a brand.
Yeah, it's like I think it's like Lisa Frank or something like that.
I couldn't remember it. Yeah, that's it.
Okay.
Full color print. You can kind of go as wild as you want. People have put dead relatives, people on there that draw strength from. It's pretty expensive now. It's almost crippling. I think some of our customers are like, I don't know what to put on our belt, and I'm like, have a choice of unlimited choices, really. So I can't really help you.
Yeah, for sure. Well, I guess like when somebody orders like an exotic belt, like hippo or like fish leather or something like that, do y'all source that, or do y'all make them provide?
No, now we've had people provide. We had a friend of mine go to Florida and shoot an alligator that he got tanned and got the leather ready to be used.
Yeah.
We've had several people with hair on cowhide rugs from their grandparents type deal and make it into a belt. But no, we have a source for all that. And it's all if they're endangered species like a hippo, it's all government sanctioned hunts, so they have to be harvested legally.
Yeah.
Called the CITES Treaty, CITES Treaty. It's some sort of international trade of endangered species. But yeah, there's several people that sell them online, and we have actually 2 or 3 different suppliers that we have to navigate what they have available. It's like hippo. Not a whole lot of hippos get killed every year. Well, not legally, and most of that leather gets scooped up by the big boot manufacturers like Lucchese and Justin and Tony Lama, that kind of stuff. So we get leftovers, I guess.
Yeah, I got you. Is there a certain, I guess, like, I know you're the owner, so you might not physically make belts every day. I don't know how y'all operate over there really, but like is there like a belt that sticks out that's like, oh, that's like easy, that's easier for us to manufacture versus like? Oh, yeah.
I mean, there's certain belts like the 6.5 millimeter, let's say, training belt, like my wife's, or a 6.5 anything is just literally just one piece of leather, throw a buckle on it, and it's done. Actually punch holes and skive it and do that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
So those belts don't take but 15 minutes just start to finish. Not a 13 millimeter double suede with an inlay and images and all that kind of stuff. I mean, it can take upwards to 20 hours on one belt to make.
Oh, damn.
That's the difference in cost, from a $70 product to a $350 product. But yeah, there are certain belts. Did I lose you?
Yeah, just for a second, but I caught a little bit of it. You said there's certain belts, and then it kind of cut out.
Yeah, there's certain belts easier to make than others for sure.
Okay, that's cool. Yeah. So when I guess when your parents were running it, you said it was. Are they the ones that transitioned primarily into belts, or were they also manufacturing other things?
I mean, they were doing, leather headgear and dip belts and lifting straps and the other fitness accessories. But it was all on a wholesale basis. So we would sell to bigger companies that would then retail it to the end customer. So these people would put in blanket POs or big POs. We would make 500 or 1,000 or 1,500 belts for them.
Yeah.
very high quantity, low margin type deal. And honestly, when I came back, we weren't far from being bankrupt. I didn't cash a paycheck for, months. My first paycheck didn't come for months after I started, just because we couldn't afford it. We had to pay our employees. We had to pay our vendors who we bought our raw materials from, that kind of thing, until we sat down and had a hard conversation about price increases were one thing that Dad and I butted heads pretty majorly. He didn't want to go up on price because he thought that those customers would drop us. And Dad, we're losing money on every one of these belts that we're sending out. Just because they're sending us money doesn't mean that we're making money.
Yeah. Uh-oh. Yeah, I lost you for a second. I don't know if you can hear me.
Okay. There you are. Can you hear me now?
Yeah, I can hear you now.
All right.
Okay. Yeah, it's still kind of.
We were doing all wholesale stuff. Hold on a second.
Yeah.
Maybe I'll just go off of data instead of Wi-Fi. Can you hear me better now?
Yeah, I can hear you better. Your video is out. But I can hear you. Oh, there you are.
So my parents were running it for strictly wholesale, and after a few years in of kind of getting our head above water with price increases and that sort of thing, I started pushing the retail side, and that's when we got on social media. We got a website that my parents we never even had a website when I first started. So
yeah,
and then that's when we started kind of gaining traction in the space.
Okay, that's cool. When did y'all start? I know y'all have been sponsoring athletes and other things like that, but when did y'all start the whole Pioneer Open?
So the Pioneer Open is actually a spinoff. We did the tribute for 2 years, which was a big money. Like we put up $50,000 the first year. Ended up getting some sponsors up to I think that meet gave out $70,000 or something like that. Yeah. And it was invite only, just the big guys and girls that came to that one. And then the second year was the same thing. I think we put up $60,000 for that one. And then I kind of got burned out, honestly, on trying to find sponsors. Most companies, unless they were small, didn't want any part of helping us. I think was the problem. They didn't want any part of building Pioneer, which is really not the way it was. It wasn't the Pioneer tribute, it was just the tribute. But anyways, long story short, I got tired of asking for money, and I could afford to do much more than I could at that time. So then I just thought, man, we're just going to make a open meet. We're going to do it in Coleman because it's easier for me. People get to come out and look at, the shop and, where we're at out here in the middle of nowhere, really. And it's a lot more low key. Obviously next year we've got bigger plans. Businesses has been good. So we're putting up $100,000 for that deal. And I'm not actively looking for sponsors. I mean, I'll gladly take anybody's money that wants to throw it at the athletes. Yeah. But yeah, it's kind of morphed back into that tribute deal, and it's an open thing, so anybody can compete. And we're going to have, with that kind of money, I'm sure we're going to have, I know Daniel Bell, and I think he's got several buddies or other competitors that are going to be there that are going to put on a show, but it'll be cool for them. And then obviously there'll be some new people that have never even done a powerlifting meet in the same venue at the same time. So we're kind of excited about that. Well, this year's tribute, I put up 20, I think again, it's in September here in Coleman as well. And it'll be a low key meet. It won't be no national recognition. I don't think anybody real crazy strong is coming, other than possibly a guy named Casey Mitchell. He's an amputee. I don't know if he's One Leg Monster on Instagram. Yeah. I don't know if you know Casey. But I think he's still planning on coming, so that'll be cool to watch him lift.
Okay, sweet. Yeah. I don't know him personally, but I have seen him on Instagram and stuff.
Yeah,
that's awesome.
He's a good dude.
Sweet. So when you do those opens, are those? I know you said this one's going to be kind of low key, but do you like maybe for the next one? Is it open to the public, like for spectators and everything, or?
Yes. So obviously the one here in Coleman is open to spectators as well. Okay. People just don't travel to Coleman very well because it is pretty good ways from a major airport. I mean, it's 2.5 hours from Dallas to Austin, that kind of thing. So it's kind of hard to get to, kind of a pain. But the one in Galveston will be open to spectators. I don't charge like spectator fees or anything like that. If I was trying to make money, I wouldn't donate so much money. You know what I mean?
Yeah, for sure. Yeah. Okay. So as far as those, I know you're like, for example, for the next one, I guess 2023, you said you're doing like 100K.
Yeah.
Does that, how's that get split up? Is that like first, second, and third place, or?
I think they're paying every weight class. I think first, second, third of every weight class, I think is what Bobby was talking about. So I donate the money and I let Bobby and Meg, the USPA Texas people, directors, they handle the meat and the payouts and everything. Obviously, they bounce ideas off of me and they respect, some of my wishes and stuff. But I think we're going to pay out every weight class this year, or next year, which is different, I think, than most. It's usually just overalls get money. So weight class winners, I think, will be a welcomed idea.
Okay, that's cool. As far where you said you're in your garage right now?
We have a barn that we built when we built the house. Yeah.
Okay, I just noticed like a pretty decent like gym setup in the background. So yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's freaking crazy.
Yeah, I had to build the barn twice as big because half of it had to be the gym.
I got you. Yeah. Yeah, that's kind of how my garage is. I got it split up like half and half right now.
Yeah. But, yeah, I have a man cave, my workspace on the other side, and then the gym over here.
Okay, sweet. Do you like and go as deep on this as you want? I mean, it's getting into your personal life and everything, but like as far as running the business and everything, are you like on site every single day, or do you do a lot from home, or how's that?
No, I'm there every day. The last 6 or 7 months, I've been a little more absent just so the kids are getting older. They've got lots of extracurriculars going on through school. But I mean, I'm there every day. I'm available every day to all of my crew. I still make belts. I still work in the assembly lines. Yeah, I'm pretty hands-on. I'm pretty much the only mechanic. So, and we have machines that break down all the time. So I'm usually out there playing mechanic or doing something fun like that. But I'm done with the 24-hour days, hopefully, for at least for a little while. I'm done sleeping in my office for a little while. Mm-hmm. But I'm still very much involved with the day-to-day stuff. My wife works out there, so I'm out there a lot. Yeah.
Yeah, I got you. Yeah, and I saw on your Instagram you were sponsoring. I'm guessing that's your kids' baseball team. Yeah,
they're an 8U little league team, and then they're in a select like travel ball team now. So, this is their first year of actual competitive baseball. They played T-ball last year, and now I've got a 4-year-old that's coming up, and he played in the 8U team. He's going to be a stud. And then I saw the baby to go too. So I've got a lot of years left of sponsoring baseball teams, I think.
Yeah, for sure. That's awesome. So, do y'all like, I guess like, did y'all originally, back to the business, like, did y'all originally start sponsoring athletes, or what was your vision with that? Like, or what was the goal, like, to start doing meets?
No, so it all just kind of came about. I didn't have a plan. So I'm not a business guru by any stretch of the imagination. I worked hard and I got lucky is pretty much how this whole thing morphed. And then, once we started getting some brand recognition in the marketplace, people reached out to me for, sponsorships of meets, and I would say yes to everybody that I could afford to say yes to. And then, athletes, we started gaining some traction on social media and starting to get some buzz around the name and the brand. So I did like an ambassador search where we had like 1,100 people apply to be an ambassador, and I had to narrow that down to 6 men and 6 women.
Yeah.
And that was one of the hardest things I've ever done, is tell that many people that they weren't worthy, which it really wasn't they weren't worthy. It's just I had to get it down. I couldn't handle that many ambassadors. So sponsoring athletes, for the most part, people ask, for certain things, if their reasons are good or if, their intentions are good. Like somebody who broke into their car and they got to meet in 2 weeks and they don't have any way of getting a product, like I'll usually send them a belt. It doesn't matter if they've got 100,000 followers or 100 followers. None of that shit really, I don't really care. Now, some of the bigger name people, if they reach out like, hey man, do you want to collaborate and all this stuff? Dude, I'll send you a belt. I don't care if you shout us out. Just sure, kind of deal. Yeah. But our ambassadors now, they do have some commission stuff, so we actually pay our sponsored athletes, which is cool. Something that a lot of smaller brands, I think, they'll give out free supplements and free T-shirts and shit, and that's not really how ours is set up. So I'm kind of happy about the way it is.
Yeah, that's cool. I know you said you're not really like a business guru or anything, but do you have like a long-term goal for Pioneer? Like anything major, really?
Well, obviously, I'm just going to keep riding this wave. I'm going to try to get it as big as I possibly can handle. Yeah. We've added onto our building twice already in 9 years. We've went from 7 employees to, I think I have 41 now. Yeah. We're looking at the possibility of building a new facility, manufacturing place, about twice the size of what we're in right now, and just keep going. I do think that there are several projects that I want to tackle that I think we're perfectly set up with the materials that we use, the machines that we have, and the knowledge that we've gained. Yeah. I really want to make a splash in the fitness or in the fashion world with our like dress belts and stuff. Since we did get that patent on the Pioneer cut, dress belts and belts and stuff, I think is something that could have massive growth potential. Just because the fashion world just blows fitness world out of the water when it comes to yearly spend. Yeah. The guitar straps and rifle slings and all of those little leather products that certain niches have and need. We could service those pretty easily. I just don't have the space, and I don't have the people. But I know if we get more space, I can get more people, and then then we can start tackling some of those bigger projects that branch out. Don't necessarily solely focus on the fitness market, but it's I think business wise, it makes sense.
Yeah. Okay. That's pretty cool. With the meet, so you said in 2023 that's going to be, is that the one that's in Galveston?
Yeah, I said Galveston. I think it's South Padre Island, so it's a couple hours from there. Yeah. And it's at the South Padre Island Convention Center, which I think is, it's literally right on the beach. I think you go out the back door and it's on the water. So South Padre Island, the idea kind of came from Ben Pollock, the buddy of mine. I'm sure most of your listeners, if they're powerlifters, know who PH Deadlift Ben Pollock is. But he said, why don't you do like a destination where, I guess maybe back in the 80s or 90s, they used to have a powerlifting meet in Hawaii where people would go to and have a vacation while they were out there. And it wasn't just for the powerlifting. They got to kind of do their own thing as well. I said, man, that's a pretty good idea. And I was like, but I also really want to use Bobby and Meg because they've been so good to me at USP Texas. And I was like, man, I really don't want to fly all my shit all the way to Hawaii.
Yeah.
So I was like, man, Padre's probably the biggest destination location in Texas. So let's just do it there. And everything's worked out so far with the venue. We've got it set up. And, you know, I know there's an international airport, there's plenty of hotels, so it should work out pretty good. And it sold out in like an hour.
Damn, yeah.
57 minutes or something like that.
Yeah. Oh, so you've already sold stuff for the 2023?
Yeah, the registration opened, I don't know, maybe a week or 2 weeks ago, and it sold out in less than an hour.
Damn. Okay. That's crazy.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, congrats on that, man. And the growth of your company. The growth of your company is insane, honestly. It sounds like it's
been a wild ride. My parents always kind of kept me grounded through the growth period. Is like, you know, don't want to grow too fast. You start allocating a bunch of money, and if you can't keep up, you know, you're going to start losing sales, which, you know, we've flirted with that several times just in the last year, where our lead times were starting to reach way out there at that 8-week mark, which is kind of my threshold of being uncomfortable. I don't like people waiting that long.
Yeah.
But we've gotten it under control. We added some new machines and some more people over the last several months that have helped alleviate some of that. I don't want to say slowness, but it's probably the right word. Yeah, it's been really wild. We've been extremely blessed as a family, as a business. I've been able to offer our employees full benefits with retirement plan, full coverage on healthcare. We've given 3 company-wide raises over the last year, 2 so far this year already. So it's been good for not only me, but for pretty much everybody at Pioneer.
Yeah. Well,
it's been fun.
Yeah, it's good to hear that you're, you know, taking care of your people, you know, because not.
Oh man, do it without them.
Yeah, well, like not a lot of companies will do that, you know.
Oh, I know. I mean, it's doing the right thing it should never be hard, and it sucks to hear. And this is businesses across the space. This is not just fitness related. There's people in town. We live in a small town. Like, we have like 4,500 people here.
Yeah.
And, you know, you hear all of these guys that have, you know, they'll put in their applications and they'll tell me, you know, what they made at their old job. You know, and it's like $8 an hour, $9 an hour. Like, bro, you've got kids at home and a wife, man. How the hell do you do it? Man, we just get by. You know, and I think, you know, we start everybody much higher than that. I've got several people that are making way, way more than that. And the cool thing about my crew, I don't want to say most of them, but there are a pretty good handful of them that are all, you know, had checkered pasts. You know, they've had, they've got a criminal record that may exclude them from certain jobs. And I kind of view those as, you know, a second chance. We've got 2 of our managers have, I don't want to spill, you know, the beans or whatever, but they have, you know, serious charges that would be hard for them to find another good job. And they're both doing excellent. Man, the turnaround of their lives from not wanting to go down that path anymore is probably the most beautiful thing about anything that I've experienced in business. I've got a guy, his name is David, and he was job hopping in and out of jail. We're talking about, he's probably 45, maybe pushing 50 now.
Yeah.
20 years in and out of jail, you know, 10, 15 times for peddly shit. And man, he's been with us for like 3 years now. He comes to work early, stays late. He's kicking ass. He's buying a new house. It's just those type of deals. Literally, is easily the coolest part about being a business owner. Yeah. Is watching those guys change their lives for the better.
Yeah, that's crazy. That being said, like, when have you just you said like the machines break sometimes and you're the only mechanic, are you
Yeah.
are you kind of mechanic by necessity, or?
Yes. I don't know shit about anything other than my machines. If something in my house breaks, I call somebody else to fix it because I don't know how to do it. I've literally learned I could probably build an Adler sewing machine from the ground up. I could probably build our big beam presses and our glue machines. They break down, and to get a true mechanic to come out here from the DFW or Austin or El Paso, it's $1,500 a pop just to get them to come out.
Yeah.
And not knowing if they could fix the thing. So, I get to where I've gotten to where I'm actually pretty good at it. Not to boast or brag, but I've gotten to be a pretty good mechanic out of necessity for sure.
Yeah, for sure. That's crazy. So in regards to your employees, like when you're growing and you're looking for new hires and everything, would you say it's primarily like word of mouth since you have like over 40 employees now, or do you actually like put out there that you...
Very rarely. Like, we had a big push 3 months ago, maybe 4 months ago, where I needed to hire like 7 people. We just got new tables and new machines in, and I needed people to come. And I put it like on our Facebook page.
Yeah.
And all the locals will see it. They'll ask, what do you make, or what do you start at, that kind of stuff. But we hired like 9 people in the last 4 months. 7 of them are still with us and all doing well. But it's usually just word of mouth. We don't pull anybody from other towns. Very rarely do we see any out-of-state applicants. And the hard thing about that, I've had friends say, "Man, I'd love to come work at Pioneer." I'm like, dude, you got to uproot your entire life to come to a very small rural community. And I don't want... It would be even harder if they didn't work out, if they just weren't producing or whatever.
Yeah.
To have to let somebody go after they've uprooted their entire lives to come to Coleman, of all places. Yeah. So I'm very, very hesitant of like offering a job to somebody like that just because of the question mark for them.
Yeah.
more than me.
Yeah, because I know from experience that's a pretty good way to end up losing friends.
Yeah. And that's one thing my parents always tell me: don't ever go into business with your friends, because they won't be friends for very long. And I've had people in this space that went to business with their friends and they hate each other, and that's that sucks.
Yeah, exactly. So before I let you go, I do want you to explain to me the origin story behind what is it, Copenhagen and caffeine?
Yeah, so I call it that's the lifeblood shirt.
Yeah.
That's, dude. So when we first started doing retail, it was literally just me and one other girl. She helped me sew while I pretty much made all of the belts from there. And we started to grow pretty fast, and I didn't have the employees, and I made every retail belt for probably a year and a half. And we had one embroidery machine, and we'd have, not very many belts, maybe 100 belts a week that I had to make. But those embroidery machines would only run, they needed to run 24/7. So I slept on a beanbag chair in our embroidery room at the shop while my oldest 2 kids were just babies. And that's what I fucking lived on, man. I drank Monsters and did Copenhagen just to stay awake so that I could continue working.
Yeah.
So
just on a steady buzz.
Yeah, I had to. Either that or, when I crashed hard. But for the most part, that was what was running through my veins for sure.
Yeah, that's crazy. Yeah, I've seen the T-shirts, and I've seen people joking about it on Instagram and everything, and I was like, I know I've seen you with like a dip in and stuff, so I figured it had to do with something like that, but I was curious.
Yeah, that's what it is, man. I just That's what kept me going for a long time. Still does. I got a bang sitting in front of me and a dip in right now.
Yeah, that's funny. All right, man. Well, I really appreciate you taking the time. I know you're a busy man.
Yeah, I'm sorry to keep kicking it back on you. I busy outside of work more so than inside. Well, we're busy at work too, but busy outside of work right now with all the kids stuff, end of year school stuff.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, me too. I got a 9-year-old and a 7-year-old, and so yeah. But all right, man. Well, I'm gonna let you go, but I really appreciate it. Is there anywhere you want to direct people to? I mean, I know y'all have an Instagram, you got a website.
Yeah, I mean, those are the two our biggest platforms. Obviously, General Leathercraft, which is the parent company. I know everybody gets Pioneer Powerlifting and General Leathercraft mixed up. But General Leathercraft is our website. Actually, I do think we own URL pioneerpowerlifting.com too. Just goes to General Leathercraft. And then our Instagram page is Pioneer_fit. And that's where I post and most active there. So
Okay. Sweet, man. Well, once again, I really appreciate it. And yeah, I'm gonna obviously stay in touch, but I'm gonna try and make it to that meet in 2023, even just as a spectator, you know.
I'd love to see you shake your hand. I appreciate it.
Yeah, for sure, man. All right, man.
All right, brother.
All right.
See ya.
Talk to you later. Bye.